Welcome back to Let's Laugh About It, the not-so-serious business podcast powered by D2CX. I'm Zoe Kahn, and I'm here to celebrate our wins, vent about our challenges, and bring the D2C and e-commerce community together. Welcome back to Let's Laugh About It, the not-so-serious business podcast, and today we have Braven Grant on. Braven is a 27-year-old faith-driven husband, father of two, and the founder and CEO of Gains, one of the 50 fastest-growing consumer brands in America, operating in one of the most saturated markets in the world. He has built Gains into a multi-eight-figure brand with over 30,000 subscription customers. He launched Gains in 2016 and has navigated every phase of scaling from the early days of building from scratch to leading a 30-plus person team while staying true to the values that shaped him as a former college athlete and entrepreneur. Thank you for coming on, Braven.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. So if you want to kind of just tell the audience a little bit more about you, how you got to where you are, why you are, or what the decisions that you made to kind of get here and have Gains. And I got some cool fun facts that we can get into too.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of grew up just probably like most entrepreneurs, knowing I wasn't probably going to fit into the normal go to school, get a job thing. So, I always knew I wanted to have a business. I had done a bunch of little like entrepreneurial type stuff growing up and in high school and whatnot.
Like what?
I mean, I used to I don't know if you've ever seen those paracord bracelets where like, it's like survival bracelets. I had this little like company me and my brother started called Parabands where we like made bracelets for people. And then we were like, anyway, we're like, we're going to get into Bass Pro and but then like China came in and it was like, you could get them for like $2. So anyway, but that was like a little thing we did. I did a wood sign business or like kind of really like chuggy wood signs, but back in 2010 or 12, they were really cool. So it was like at my high school, we had a CNC machine that they had like brought in. No one ever learned how to use it. We had this really old shop teacher. And then I learned how to use it and I was like making signs for people and we could get the wood for super cheap through like the wood program. So anyway, I ended up using that to sell a bunch of signs and paid for me and a bunch of buddies senior trips. And like, then we like actually tried to launch it as like a real business. We brought in a CNC machine from China. It was like this whole thing.
All in high school?
Yeah.
Damn.
In high school and then like following up right after high school. And anyway, it didn't really go anywhere, but it was called America's Wall Decor. I thought it was a cool name and whatnot. But anyway, wood also got really expensive and whatnot. But so yeah, I've done a bunch of other things and Gains was really kind of like one entrepreneurial, but also I just wanted to get into the fitness industry. I was following, Christian Guzman, Jeremy Buendia, like Steve Cook, all these kind of influencer icons in the early days of men's physique. And I was like, man, I want to like be at the expos and hang out with these guys. Like that was really the drive for it. And then we found a unique product and an innovative, way to kind of enter the market. And yeah, this is kind of how we got started.
That's awesome. I actually don't even know if the podcast, maybe I probably have said it once or twice, but I used to compete in NPC bikini bodybuilding. And I similarly, like very entrepreneurial but I don't know, I'd try to go to college and I did, but then I would take a break because I'm like excited about all of this. And that's kind of how I got into e-commerce. I started working for a supplement brand, Ghost, and I just loved it so much and learned all of it. But I was training and competing and going to the Arnold. 2016 Arnold Expo was like so
you were there?
Fun.
That's when we launched the company at the Arnold Expo in 2016. Yeah. We were just like one little booth spot, but
yeah, I think that was my like first Arnold Expo, and it was like such a it was
such a good year. That was like Kai Green, Phil Heath, like heat of the battle. Anyway, it was like an addicting time in the fitness industry. So.
Yeah, and I was so broke, but like anything that I like used every penny that I had to go to the Arnold because I don't know, it was worth it. I don't even know why I thought it was worth it. It was just like fun.
That's so cool.
And then it's just such a great aspect, or it's just a good community to get into, and it's cool that you're able to like launch a brand behind it and everything. Can you tell us a little bit more about like the innovativeness of the products or of Gains?
Yeah, so I kind of also grew up very in the health and fitness world. My dad trains doctors all over the world and how they can, more holistically help their patients with lifestyle and nutrition and supplementation. So I kind of like was raised in that. And I was at a event with my dad, actually, a big like just industry event, more on like the holistic health side of things. And I met a guy who had created the process for instantized creatine. So creatine typically is like very chalky and gritty, kind of can make people feel bloated or watery. And he showed me this new product that they had developed. And I think I was 16 at the time. I was about to turn 17. And they had pitched some big brands on it, and like no one really was picking up. Creatine was just kind of a boring category at the time. But for me, as like a young kid, I was just like, I was ignorant of how hard it was to actually build a brand in the supplement industry. But I was like, that's unique. I think this is a really cool product. And in my head, I was like, well, it's a good product, so it would sell. So we ended up, working a deal with them to get the exclusivity on that process for like, it was like a short window. I think the first time was like 6 months to see if we could do anything with it. And that's when we went to the Arnold, had a little booth, and I literally was just like me, a couple family members, a couple friends, and we just like one by one pitched people all weekend on this product. We showed them the demo that we still use in ads of ours versus the other creatine. And I think we took 1,000 units and we sold out in the weekend. I was like, holy cow, this is so cool. So that was kind of the genesis and that first innovative thing that we found. And I think what it taught me though was, and we've kind of tried to make sure we have in every single product, is to have a unique selling proposition, a USP, like what truly separates our product, not just makes it better, but truly makes it unique. And so that's that's really helped us separate and distinguish ourselves inside of a saturated market.
Yeah, especially, and also in the same time that people are really understanding that like Facebook ads can just like turn around, and there's a lot of businesses out there who are not, which is crazy to me, but they're not like excited about their product. It's about the dollar. And so it's always cool to hear like true, genuine product, like belief in the product and everything. What was your biggest mistake? This is the Let's Laugh About It podcast. And so do you have a laughable moment that you can share with the audience?
Yeah, I think it wasn't laughable at the time, but we'd started to scale the brand. This is now early 2020 or mid 2020, I think. And so we're four, almost 5 years into the company. And we'd started to scale Facebook ads. We'd started to figure out like how to sell a product at scale. And we were doing really well. And then there was this massive worldwide shortage for creatine, for the ingredient, one of the ingredients that makes creatine. And so everyone was like, it didn't matter what size the company was, they didn't have creatine. And we were young and dumb. And I think at the time we had like 23 or 24 employees. And 90% of our business was that creatine product at the time. So when that ran out, we were like, what do? We have no way to produce income for the business. And so me and my partner, we decided, well, let's pre-sell it. And we came up with a number that we thought was a safe number. We're like 2 months out, we'll pre-sell it. And we ended up pre-selling, I think like in that 2 month window, like 7,000 customers. And then that 2 month window came and went, and we still didn't have product. Wow. And then like another 4 weeks went by. We told our customers like, hey, like it'll be a couple more weeks. And that came and went, no product. And we ended up pre-selling like 11,000 customers. And because we were the only people that had creatine, or were saying we had creatine, or we're going to have creatine. And so we were getting customers that way, but also just because of the product. And so we ended up with like 11,000 customers, no product. It like extended beyond that. We're getting like death threats. My wife was who managed customer service at the time. She was just like all day just getting like beat down by customers. It was pretty rough, but it also taught us a lot of lessons. We ended up like losing payment processors because people started refunding, and we were having to like let customers know, you can refund. But it was a mess. Like I ended up having to let go of 12 people in like one day, 1 week. And out of, a small company, that was tough. And as I think I was 23 at the time, that was a hard lesson. Yeah. But it taught us, a lot about like, making sure we can fulfill what we're doing, and selling product and marketing a product is one thing, but actually being able to fulfill and do what we told a customer we're going to do. And so, now we laugh about it, and it's like a funny thing. Like anyone who was there at that time, it's still part of the company. It's a laughable moment, but at the time it was like felt like everything was
that's the end of the world.
Yeah.
Or you're in today you're in a meeting and you don't have product and you're like, we could put it on presale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're like, if it ever comes up, it's like, yeah, we're like, all right, here's a story. And that's a cool thing about business is like you use like those lessons and you have those stories, or we call them like a myth, like these myths that live on to teach us the lessons for the future. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the beauty of kind of the stories we like to tell on the podcast too, because I think that there is so many bragging things that we can do and like we should be proud of ourselves. And but we learn so much through those mistakes. And
absolutely.
So if you were to go back and redo it, what would you do anything different, or what would you do?
Oh man, what would I have done? Because like what's hard about it is I feel like it also in some ways like allowed us to survive that time and like make it through. So, I mean, I think ultimately though, I just would have been more honest with the customer, either to say like, hey, we don't know exactly when it's going to be, it could be this to this time.
Yeah.
But because we were over promising, we were saying like, we'll have it by this date, we'll ship it by this date. And then even as we knew it wasn't going to happen, it was like, we didn't want to upfront tell people because we didn't want people to refund. Like we wanted to kind of just like, wait, is it going to come? Is it not? Like, so I think ultimately it's just like being more honest with the customer. And we've always found like the more honest, the more we tell the truth. Yeah, there's people that are upset. Yeah, there's people that'll leave, but it typically builds a good relationship with the customer. They go, hey, at least like this is a company that I can trust. And so I would have probably tried to find other ways that we could have, got them different products, swapped the product, and just been more honest earlier rather than waiting and just kind of like hoping that no one refunded until we had product.
Yeah. And it's a hard decision too, because transparency is great, but then transparency, especially, it's hard to balance that. Like, will it hurt sales or will it hurt the business? But the like long-term benefits of transparency seem to be like amazing. And I was telling a story. I was in a car accident. I have a back injury and I'm on the up of recovering, but I was laying down for a lot. And so I got this a laying down desk. And usually a lot of my purchases nowadays, I'm just like, you see something, you order it. But like I needed this to be like an actual good desk so I could work and whatever. And so I watched a literal 5-minute video. I ordered it on Amazon and I watched a 5-minute video about this desk, and it was kind of goofy, but I guess it was like version 2 or 3 of the desk, and they took a lot of feedback from customers and they went through like these are all the good things, but at the end they're like, but now we're going to tell you what you're not going to like about it.
Wow.
And I was like, that is so admirable, because a lot of people would say, I'm like saying the same thing, maybe we shouldn't be so transparent because maybe they won't even notice these things. But because they were so transparent, I knew like, oh, it's a little bit wobbly because it's a long arm. And like, so by the time I got it, I wasn't upset about
set
it
properly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. So the setting expectations, and I do think it's something we have to learn through though, because you don't really understand how important it is. And I'm sure that maybe they had something where they weren't so transparent. Yeah.
And especially like as a marketer, you want to show your product in the best light. And so it's like, I don't want to talk about that part. I want to talk about this part. And sometimes it's not even like, oh, I'm going to lie about it or avoid it. It's like, we're just talking about the good stuff, but that's really cool. And and it does build trust to show, hey, there's 2 sides to this, or sometimes even some of our best performing ads will be like, hey, it sucks because you have to take creatine every single day and it's a powder and it's like, sometimes it's messy on the counter, but if you'll do it, the performance benefits are really massive. And sometimes leading with that negative actually captures someone's attention and they're like, oh wait, what? So.
Yeah. And it is, so I also, before working at Ghost, I managed GNCs. And that was one of the big things too with supplements in general was, I didn't want anyone to return. And I saw like the really good salespeople would like really focus on the pros. And then I would get like their returns and be like, fuck, I'm getting their return because they were honest. But like my customers don't return because I tell them this is a really good product, but like it doesn't taste that great, or like, but it's like, so, and I'm trying to set expectations because I don't want them to like go home and be like, this thing sucks.
Yeah.
But if you tell them like it's a good product, and maybe they don't buy it, and you understand what they actually care about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I also saw that one of your entrepreneurial things that you did was door-to-door sales. How did that shape your journey? And do you have any funny moments from it? I feel like there's good.
I mean, yeah, like the door-to-door is such an interesting experience, and I like highly recommend it. I think if the company wouldn't have taken off, I would probably kept doing door-to-door sales. I think for young people, it's such a good opportunity, and you learn so much. But I actually had signed to go out for another summer. I was selling door-to-door while we were running this company, because for the first 5 years or so, I'd never really made any money. I think like the 5th year I was paying myself like $2,000 a month, like barely making anything. So I sold door to door to be able to pay for, I was also going to college. I only did 1 year in college, but I was going to college. I just got married. So I was like paying the bills, and I had signed to go out for the next summer. And I said, but hey, I need till April 1st. And if I can get my company like moving, then I'm not going to come out. And March of that year, we ended up having like a really big month, and it was like kind of our like, okay, we cracked the code moment. And so I didn't end up going out again, but I sold for 2 seasons. And yeah, I learned so much, about just how to talk to people. I learned about being honest as well. Like a lot of lessons in that. It's easy to sell someone something and then you get a charge back, or you get, all of those things. And so, but the biggest thing I think I learned in selling door to door was like just the fact that there's always going to be people who say no and people who say yes. And there would be days where it's like you just knock on enough doors till you'd all of a sudden run into someone. They'd be like, I've actually been thinking about switching over to Dish satellite. I sold Dish for a while. Like so you'd be knocking all these people. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want anything to do with you. And then there's a person who's like, I've actually been waiting for someone to talk to me about this. So it's the same thing with marketing, same thing with anything. There's going to be people that say no. There's going to be people that aren't aligned with the brand, don't want the product, whatever. And that's okay. Like we're going out to try and find the people who do want the product. And, you can waste a lot of time at a door trying to convince someone, or you can do your best and then move to the next one, have a good attitude. And then you're going to find that person who's ready or looking for what you have to offer.
That's awesome. And I feel I really don't like sales.
Yeah.
And so I'm always like, it is something that if I don't think I would last in door-to-door sales. Like I like hate confrontation or like getting told no and all that. But it's probably like, it's like one of those things that if you could do door-to-door sales, like you probably not afraid to go to like find the Walmart's buyer and ask them if they could sell your product. And
100%.
I'm sure have you seen that like reflective,
And especially like you just learn, I think what's good about sales is you learn how to be in uncomfortable conversations. So when like employees, team members, like every day of my life at this point as more of a CEO now is really just uncomfortable conversations. That's like the majority of like what moves the needle now is me having conversations with the team, having uncomfortable conversations, pushing the team to see the vision, see something bigger. And in sales, like you learn that moment of this is awkward. I'm not sure if they're going to say yes. I just asked for the close. I asked for the sale, and now we're just sitting here waiting, or they're responding back and saying no. And I can't just like fold and be like, oh, okay, thanks. Like I got to like respond and handle an objection. So to learn to sit in those uncomfortable conversations, I think is probably one of like the most valuable skills that you learn in sales. It's hard to learn anywhere else because most of us, and even still, like I don't like uncomfortable conversations, but it's, we normally just avoid those in life. And same thing is, I mean, it's helped my marriage, it's helped my business, it's helped so many areas of my life to be able to say, hey, I don't necessarily like uncomfortable conversations, but I can sit in that spot and not just quit and fold and be like, oh, okay, like never mind.
Or not have them at all.
Or avoid them completely.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it is, I see that too. And we're going through this thing where we're like, do we need to hire full-time HR? And like, we're going through all of the different like things that we can pass around the hat for. Yeah. And then the team is like, but who wants to do the confrontational thing? And I'm like, I guess I'll do it. But like, it is like nobody wants to do the but it has like a leader, it is a big part of leadership. And so that's
100%.
such a great, like, valuable lesson to learn through, and good for entrepreneurial, like, mindset as well.
Yeah. No, I think I've said this before, like, our company growth is always tied to how fast and how willing me and the rest of our team are to having uncomfortable conversations. Like, if we're prolonging them, putting off having a hard conversation or letting someone go or whatever, it's a reflection on probably how fast we're growing as a company.
Yeah.
If we're willing to, like, move fast, have the hard conversation, let someone go if they need to be let go, and just keep moving forward, it's a reflection that that's what we're doing as a brand. Like, we're moving forward. We care about our goals more than we care about any individual. We care about the individual and the employee, and at the same time, as a team, as a unit, we have a higher goal than any of our individual goals. And, like, that's what makes a team a team. And if anyone doesn't want to have the higher goal or doesn't fit that, then it's like, hey, like, there's probably some other place that they fit in better. So the more willing we are to have those conversations, to do the hard thing that shows that we're committed to our goals, it always is tied to how fast we're growing as a company.
Yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, team alignment is everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you guys have a lot of subscription customers, which in this day and age, everybody is chasing. And did you start off, did you always have subscriptions, or what, did that change over the years?
No, so we actually didn't. I don't know what was, like, going on in my head. I, for a very long time, just thought no one wants to subscribe. Like, no one wants us to send them the product every month. Like, I just was worried about it being a bad customer experience. And then Russell Brunson, who's one of my early mentors, I was up in Idaho with him, and I was sitting in his office, and I was kind of just like, man, we're kind of stuck. I think we got, like, just crossed 8 figures, and I was like, but we've been stuck there for a little while, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's next. And we're, like, going through everything, and I was focused on acquisition. I'm like, hey, how do we acquire more customers? How do we scale acquisition? And he kind of asked me about our back end and how we retained customers, how we served customers long term. And he basically was like, dude, if you don't figure out how to make it a better experience for someone to subscribe, then you're never going to be able to scale beyond where you're at. And so it was kind of just this wake up call I needed. And so we said, hey, how can we make it a great experience? How can we make sure there's a portal that's really good for them, where they can cancel if they want to cancel, they can move the subscription they want to move it, and it actually makes it more convenient for them. And so we shifted, like, literally 2 weeks later to a subscription model, and that massively helped us scale, like, cash flow, forecasting, ability to manage inventory. Like, it allowed us to, like, improve the pricing to the customer, and from our end, from suppliers and vendors and all of those things. Like, it just, the entire health of the business went up. So, like, we grew, we became more profitable, functioned more smoothly. So, I mean, reoccurring revenue to me now, that was in, I think it was only like 2022. It was like a few years ago. And now I'm like, I would never start a business that's not reoccurring revenue.
Yeah, I had the same mindset too. And I think that there's a lot of, I know that as I've grown in, like, business and leadership, I've always kind of had a hard time putting myself, or, like, I always think, like, the customer is me. Yeah. And so I'm like, if I don't want to be subscribed, I'm going to forget. I don't want all these reoccurring. And so I used to think the same, where I'm like, why would nobody wants that. Yeah. You see everyone doing it, but nobody wants it. And I also,
but then I think the realization for me was, like, when I realized, oh, but there are products I am subscribed to. Like, I'm subscribed to my toothpaste. I'm subscribed to Netflix. Like, how annoying. It's annoying when I have to re-log into Netflix, let alone if I had to go and pull my credit card out every month and pay for it. I would be like, I would not keep the service, even though I want the service. And that was, like, this realization, this light bulb for me of, there's people who will not buy your product that want to have your product simply because it's just, there's too much friction. People are not going to stop their day, remember to do it, go buy it, get online, go to your website. So they're most likely either not going to get the product, not going to get the benefit, or grab some while they're at Target or something like that. So I think that was the realization for me was, oh, like, I might not subscribe to everything, but there are things I do. And so there's people who want this every month, same thing. And
I think it was such good advice that you got, that was make it, like, if your product isn't good enough for someone to want to, it like pushes you harder.
Yeah, and it's pushed us to say, how do we make flavors better? How do we come out with more flavors? How do we give someone an experience where every single month, like, they can switch the flavor, they can try new things, and it makes it fun and enjoyable for them. And that all kind of came out of the genesis of subscription. So it absolutely, like, pushed us to say, if we're going to retain a customer, not just acquire them, we're gonna have to improve the product. We're gonna have to improve the experience all around.
And you get so much data for when people cancel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if somebody comes to your store and doesn't buy again, it's like, what happened? It's hard to track down that. Yeah. But if someone cancels a subscription, you fill out the cancellation. Exactly.
And all that,
yeah. And then, so I also was, I was working at GNC when they brought in subscriptions.
Oh, yeah.
And there was like they wanted us to talk about it. And that was really uncomfortable. I'm like,
sure.
I don't want people. But then I saw other like people like, oh, I can get my vitamin. Like I do come here every month to get my vitamins. And then I noticed it helped people stay consistent with their habits because they knew that if they have it coming every month, they have to take it every day, which helps people with their progress too.
Absolutely.
And it's great for supplements and consumables. Do you guys struggle with the I think it's like the number one for everyone for consumables of like, I have too much product?
Yeah, I mean, that's the number one reason someone cancels, right? And so we try not to talk so much about how do we just retain a customer. We talk about how do we get consumption up. How do we get someone to consume the product? Because consumption is like the actual answer. It's not just how do we get them to not cancel. It's how do we get them to consume? Because they consume the product, they get the benefits. They get the benefits, they keep taking the product. They keep taking the product, they run out of product, and they need more product. So it's like consumption's the number one thing, or like the new word I've been in love with is just activation. Like, how do we activate a customer? How do we get them not just to buy it, not just to, get it and put it in their cupboard, but actually get activated as a consumer? Because once they consume it, they experience the benefit, and then they never want to quit. And maybe they, people are inconsistent, so they miss or whatever, and so they skip or something. But as long as we can get someone to consume the product, then we're good. And so our churn is actually really, really low. And I think it's just a product of us really pushing for how do we get someone to take the product, like open it up first thing they would get it, like just pushing for that experience to be as tailored to them being able to consume the product, not just buy it.
Yes.
And not even just don't cancel. It's like, no, hey, like if you're ready to cancel, like what can we do to help you actually take the product that you have? Let's push off your subscription, but how do we get you to take the product? Because once they've taken it, get the benefit, like that's really what we're after, so that they know the product works for them and then they want to consume it.
Yeah, that's huge. I tackle this kind of issue or like challenge every day. And one of the brands that I worked for, Chomps, the meat sticks, we had a big subscription program, and that was one of my favorite things that I helped scale, and that was the big thing. I'm like, okay, well, how do I get them to just like carry them around? And so one of the things I did was I created an SMS challenge, because I was also trying to build SMS. And I told, it ended up being I wish I started it off different, because I didn't think this many people would participate, but I sent out an email and I told everyone that if I'm starting this text message challenge, and if they send me a picture of them, if I send out a text message and tell you here's the challenge, or like 1, 2, 3, go, if they send me a picture of them and their chomps within 5 minutes, I'll put 500 loyalty points in their account.
Wow, that's so
and
cool.
I got so much UGC and like silly things.
Really cool.
And then the big thing that I was really focused on, like getting people to like bring it around, put it in their gym bag, put it and eat it, and not get it like stuffed in the back of their cabinet. But then I noticed people were like sharing it with their friends, and I'm like, holy shit, if I not only just get people to
and then they're out holding it, people seeing it, like that's really cool. That's
and then
really cool
you
campaign.
Start seeing people, I mean, it wasn't like everyone, but like our churn went down, and like our I want it now, and they like would, because if they share
people
it,
saying, hey, I want more actually sooner, rather than I want to cancel because I have too much. That's
exactly great. It's such a fun challenge, but it can be very it's not as great, or it's hard to measure the
100%. That's what's hard about retention all around, and as an entrepreneur it's so easy to get stuck in acquisition. I'm like so guilty of it. Like me and my business partner, like it's so easy to measure and track how many customers are we acquiring, how much does it cost, like all of those pieces. It's much harder to really track and measure what's the customer experience people are having, like what are they, why are they canceling, like, and really look into that data. It's a little bit more nuanced, and so it's so easy to get focused on just acquire and not, hey, how do we fulfill and take care of people at the highest level?
Yeah. And you have to, I get caught up because I get excited because it does take like 3 months to really even understand if what you did today works. And then, but like, I want to do all of the things at once, but then you're like, which one actually worked?
100%.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
But really cool. And do you guys do any like in-person activations and all that?
Yeah, and it's definitely, that's a big initiative for us this year, is more activations. But, you know, we have some like events at our warehouse where we have like a gym and try and invite people to come like be with us and with the brand. And I think it's cool, obviously, one, for the people who come and like get and interact with us, but then also even just from the content perspective, like to show like what we're doing as a brand, and like that as a team, we're all like here working out. Like, it's really like who we are. It's not just some like corporate private equity owned company. Like, we all take the products, we build the products so that around what we want. Like, that's why they're naturally flavored, they're naturally sweetened. Like, I don't want to give my wife and my kids, you know, synthetic sweeteners, synthetic flavors. Like, so we really build the products for things that we want and love. And so if you walk around to anyone in our company's like desk, like they have our products sitting on their desk, they're taking it, they're like telling their grandma about it and their mom and their sister, like. And so, you know, bringing people into that culture to see it is like really powerful, and, you know, as an activation. And then this year we're really focused on, you know, doing more of that college campus activations, going to the Arnold Classic again this year, other shows as well. So yeah, like that's, I would say, something we've maybe not done as well over the years. We get so focused on digital marketing because it's so easy to measure and track. But what's interesting is we were doing the math, and based on our like Facebook CAC, or cost to acquire a customer on Facebook, we could give out almost 400 sample stick packs. And if one of those people turn into a customer, it's similar to the cost that it would have costed us to get a customer from Facebook. And it's like, and now 400 people have tried our product, tasted it. Who knows, maybe they'll see it on a retail shelf and buy it in the future, or whatever it is. So yeah, absolutely. Like, sampling the product, giving people the opportunity to try it has been like massively successful for us. And if anyone who hangs out, I mean, I brought product for you when I come here. Like, anytime I'm around someone, I have product in my truck, I have product everywhere. Just like, I want to give it to people and be like, just try it. And when they try it, like, most of the time they love it and they keep buying it. So
that's actually when I listened to a podcast with I don't think he was the founder, but he was I can't remember his name, but Quest Bars.
Oh yeah. Tom Bilyeu?
Was it? I can't remember. But one of the things they said was that there's someone would drop off a package and they would give their USPS guy a Quest bar, and 100%. Like everyone they saw. And it's also trying to get, and we try to get into that mindset at Chomps too, because they're so easy to give out and like sample. And if you have you have whatever, how many employees did I say?
Yeah, like 30 employees.
30 employees, and if they're sampling to 100%. Everyone they know, it's like, just stop your Facebook ads.
Yeah, exactly.
That's super cool. Have you guys gone to the Arnold every year?
Not every year. We went for quite a while, and then when once COVID hit, the expos changed for a while. Yeah. We ended up going to a couple expos, I think in 2022 were the last really big ones we went to before this last year. And then we kind of stopped for a while just because it was like they weren't the same. There were not as many people were showing up, and it was just really expensive. And we were at a phase in growth where we were like really having to manage cash flow. We're 100% bootstrapped. We've never taken any funding at this point. Amazing. So like, we're very, very keyed into like what's it cost to acquire a customer and all that stuff. And I think, and honestly, looking back, I think it was like the smart move at the time, but also we might have waited too long to get back into like the physical activation side, because it's just who we are, and it's who we are as a brand, and we're like real people. And so I think that aspect can never truly be replaced. So like what the impact is. Like, we have one customer, his name's Ryan Troutman.
Shout out Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, if you ever watch this, like, dude, love that guy. So I met him the very first Arnold we're at in 2016. And I don't know if he knows this. Maybe I shouldn't even tell him if he's listening. But Ryan spent over $75,000 with us since 2016 on supplements. And he was activated.
He probably doesn't even know that.
No, he probably doesn't. That's why I'm like, I don't know if it's a good thing for him to know. But he spent $75,000, and that was because we interacted, had an in-person interaction. He felt connected to our values, who we're as a brand. He's watched us grow over the years. He's watched us make mistakes. He's watched the product go, at certain times not be good, flavors not be good, us fix them and improve them. He's been there for all of that. And it's like that in-person interaction 10 years ago, has produced such a massive outcome on the back end of that I've been like, wow, like you can't even put an ROI on how impactful that is.
Yeah.
And so that's really one of the major things that shifted me back to how do we get back to kind of old school marketing, along with we'll keep running Facebook ads and doing all of that. But it's like, how do we get back to also injecting those real relationships? And that's the fun part of it as well. So
yeah, it's a retention play too, because I think it's kind of cool to try to like, that's another challenge where how do you measure it?
Yeah.
And it's fun to, you collect emails or you collect SMS at an event, and like what happens with them. And I like to kind of compare them to like when brands get really excited about running giveaways, but then you get all of these like BS emails that's like, I hate you, give me free stuff at gmail.com.
Yeah.
But then if you get like and then you try to run an email campaign on those like emails that you got from a giveaway, you get like nothing. But at an event, you get all these emails, you collect them, and then you can watch their journey. And just like you said with him, it's like, wow, people actually like that feeling. You can't replace a feeling like an in-person feeling 100%. And connection.
Yeah, and just like a feeling of like, I know these people, I know the founder, I know this brand. Like, I mean, if you look at the energy drinks you buy, you look at the different things you buy at the store, like oftentimes, at least for me, it's like, even if I don't know them, but I feel like I know them. I followed them on social media, or I kind of know who the founder is, or I've heard their story. I'm like, I'm just going to choose that product over the other product. And, like even Red Bull, when I've been telling the team this story, like as we've been focused more on activations, is like, I was 10 years old at the skate park in Gilbert, Arizona, and the Mini Cooper Red Bull car shows up, 2 chicks jump out, and at 10 years old, I get my first Red Bull. I was like stoked out of my mind. And still this day, I mean, I've probably been a huge lifetime value customer to Red Bull, because when I'm at the store, I want to pick a Red Bull just from that one real interaction where I felt like, man, like that was so cool that they gave us these free Red Bulls at the skate park. So now I'll spend $4 on an 8-ounce can instead of $2 on an 18-ounce can, because I want to support Red Bull, or have that connection to the brand. So
yeah. And are you doing? So I see that you're doing content to kind of like create that type of experience, but virtually.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. I've like, content personally has never been my strong suit, but I've just seen even like it. What's funny is, I go through phases where I'm like, oh, I don't know if this has got an ROI. But then over time, I look at who are the customers who are constantly reaching out on social, who are constantly reordering, constantly tagging me, and there's not like a massive number, but there's probably 100 people that, within a month are like tagging me in some sort of reordered product, got some more product, and they know me. Like they know me from social media. Not all of them know me even like in real life, but they've interacted with me on social media, or like we've messaged back and forth on DMs. I'm like, man, those customers, like what are they worth? Like not only they're buying product, they're sharing it. They understand like what Gains is actually about. And our mission is like really about helping people progress more than just selling supplements. And they feel aligned with that. They feel part of that. And I'm like, those people are worth so much more than some customer we just acquired from a Facebook ad who doesn't know me, doesn't know what we're about. And so, that's kind of reopened me being like, okay, I'm going to put out a lot more content, try and kind of give behind the scenes, like vlog style stuff, and just bring people into, because when it happens in real life, those people are diehard customers. Like anyone I know in my real life takes our products, loves our products, like everyone, like all my family, all my friends, like there's not any friend I have that doesn't take our product or have it at their house. Like, and then they typically bought it, like not just because I gave some to them. And so I'm like, okay, well, how do we just recreate more of that? Well, it's like bring people around virtually. So that's kind of how that's come about. And it's working. It's a slower pace than running Facebook ads, which is the thing I sometimes struggle with, is that it's slow. It's not as measurable, but it's the impact. You can see it over time.
Yeah. You trust the process and consistency. Yeah. It is rough though. I was telling the girls when you came in that I create content, I always have to be in the right mood. And so when I think about vlogging, and I love, like, I'm on and off with vlogging, but it's like, for me, I'm like, oh, it's so hard to have these like hard business things and challenges and then be like also in the mood to like talk to a camera. It's rough, but it's cool to see that you're doing it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think too, people want to see that too. Like they just want to see like the reality of it. And I want to see it from a documentation perspective. Like we took all the content from this year, and one of our editors on our team made a end of year recap video for our Christmas party. Cool. And it was like 12 minutes, kind of this like 12-minute vlog of the year. And like everyone in the room's like crying and laughing. And like everyone after that, we watched that video was like so bought in and like feeling what we were doing as a brand. And I was like, it was again, just that realization, like, man, like, just documenting it even, and so that we have that, so that people can be a part of that, people can see it, the people who are a part of it can see it. Even just that part of it is really impactful. That's
amazing. Well, wrapping up, and good segue, where can people find you and find your brand, find your vlogs, find your content?
Yeah, so Gains, the actual company name is Gains in Bulk. We're working on a whole bunch of trademark stuff right now, so it can be just Gains. But anyway, Gains in Bulk, Braven Grant, at Braven Grant on Instagram. I mean, that's my handle and everything. It's just Braven Grant. So
awesome. Well, we'll put it in the show notes below, and make sure you share this with a friend, like, comment, rate it in whatever streaming platform you're listening on. And thanks for coming on. This was such a cool story, and I'm excited to share it with the world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Catch you next week. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and catch us in the next episode. And thank you for listening.